On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, this is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Also by Iowa's Corn Farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Also brought to you by Shields. We're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
A new era of Iowa volleyball is set to debut for tested and proven first-year Hawkeye head coach Jim Barnes. In previous stops at Wyoming, Baylor, and Tulane, Barnes has produced 455 wins, many All-Americans, and an NCAA Player of the Year. The Louisiana native has put 4 teams in the NCAA tournament, including a Sweet 16. There's 9 20-plus win seasons, and Jim Barnes feels the Hawkeyes can reach the elite level where the Big Ten Conference sits on the throne. Jim Barnes is on deck for this week's Fight for Iowa podcast, sponsored by Shields, Iowa Corn, and Athletico. We'll get started after this timeout.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Starting his 25th year as a head coach, Iowa volleyball's Jim Barnes spent the past 6 seasons at Tulane and was very comfortable in finishing his career in his home state until the Iowa job came calling. The challenge of competing in the best conference in the country against the likes of defending national champion Wisconsin, past crown wearers Nebraska and Penn State, was too captivating to avoid. Barnes knows every coach in the league, so he and his staff's scouting reports will be thorough. But it takes players. Barnes feels the Hawkeyes are off and running in the right direction. His first roster, with a size range of 6'7" to 5'5", features 8 returning letter winners, 8 Division I transfers, and a pair of gifted freshmen, ready to tackle a 30-meet schedule starting on September 16th, featuring the beautiful and comfortable 1-year-old Extreme Arena in Coralville. It's an exciting time for Barnes and the program.
It is. We're excited to finally get that schedule done, and so now we're getting ready for it. Our team comes in next weekend, to start working out over the summer, and we'll have that schedule right there in front of them so they can see what we're about to do.
Home opener September 16th, South Dakota State. Man, that's coming quick.
It is. We have a scrimmage, August 20th, the black and gold scrimmage. So our fans will get to see every player play. And, in the Extreme Arena, we've recently redone the arena, brand new floor in there. So it's going to look great. So the fans will get to see all the players August 20th. Yeah, and then we're on the road for 3 weeks to start the season.
Got a couple great trips on the road, invitationals.
Yeah, we're at Oklahoma to start the season off, playing 3 teams at that tournament to get things kicked off. Then the very next weekend, we're in the Pac-12 Challenge, which we play 2 top 10 teams, Washington and Colorado. So yeah, we'll learn a lot about our team in that second weekend. And then we're at Iowa State the 3rd weekend in a really nice tournament, and then we're home.
Coach, 10 teams that played in the NCAA tournament last year are on the Iowa schedule, and that includes defending national champion Wisconsin. When you and I first visited last spring, your first words were, there is no reason that we can't win at Iowa. And I know you still feel that way.
Absolutely. Iowa has everything to offer. And that's why when I got here, we brought on 9 players, and they want to be a part of this building, and part of making Iowa great at volleyball. It's a great conference, obviously, but it's time. It's time to get this program where it should be. and these players all have a chip on their shoulder coming in. They, several of them are former Iowa, lived in Iowa. They went off to play at Wake Forest, different schools, and we've gotten them back here, transfer back, and so we got some people that really got ties to Iowa.
Let's talk about some of those people. You've got 8 returning letter winners, 7 transfers, and 2 incoming freshmen. Now, I was impressed that 8 returning letter winners. Usually, you're going to lose some players with a new coaching change. You must be real proud to know that 8 returning players want to play for Jim Barnes.
Right. When I got here, there were 5, and 3 were in the portal. And we talked them off the ledge and to give us a chance, and it's been great. They have jumped right on board all spring. We brought in 2 transfers in January as well, so that's why we got up to 10. So we got to build a foundation over this spring, which was huge, because we got 7 new ones coming in next week. So it's happening fast. But I think it's a blessing because we haven't had a 3-year transition. We've brought in these players right away, and I think it's going to pay off. Yeah, Maya Jones is a returner, senior, super senior, so it'll be her 5th year. She was very underutilized in her career. And in our offense, we're a middle running offense, more so than any team in the country. So Amaya, we call her AJ, when she found that out, that's why we got her out of the portal. She was ready. And this spring, she led all middles and kills. So she's going to have a huge year. She's really impressed us. A newcomer coming in is a tremendous quarterback for us, a setter, Lily Tessier. She was the setter for Florida State, 6'3", setter, still has 2 years of eligibility, one of the top setters in the ACC. So that was a great get for us to bring in a setter that talented.
Iowa volleyball coach Jim Barnes returns in just a minute on Fight for Iowa.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
There's a sense of pride that comes from the life of a farmer. How many people can say they have a famous tan named after them, or be known for their wave when they drive past neighbors and strangers alike on a 2-lane road? Whether it's a farmer's tan or the farmer's wave, we are proud to be known for a lot of things. We feel that pride every night at the dinner table, knowing we feed our family and yours. Iowa Corn is proud to be on the sidelines cheering on the Iowa Hawkeyes. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa volleyball season tickets are on sale now at 800 IA Hawks and online at HawkeyeSports.com. They're just $55 for adults and $35 for youths. There are 13 home dates, including Northern Iowa, 10 against Big Ten opponents, including defending national champion Wisconsin and past champs Penn State and Nebraska. First-year head coach Jim Barnes knows every other league coach personally.
Yeah, I've talked with them all before I even came here and asked them why not Iowa. What every one of them said it can be done here. And, it's just a matter of getting the commitment from the coaches, the administration, and the players. And that's where it starts. And we're just so honored to be a part of the Iowa family. My staff, it's been a blast these 5 months getting to work, for such a great place. And the players feel that, too, that commitment to, being the best we can be.
Iowa is one of the strongest states nationally for high school athletics. High school female women's athletics, and in particular volleyball.
Right. Iowa's got great players here, and in the entire region. We'll be able to build 70% of our roster with players in state and within the region, and that's big. You want to have that consistency, and then we'll go out and find the best players we can get outside of there. But it's all here. It can be done, and that's what we're going to do.
Jim Barnes wanted to thank the other Hawkeye head coaches and staff members who've been so welcoming to he and his family, impressed that so many of them have been at Iowa for a long time, telling each, "You must really like it here. They must really treat you right." Combine that with what the community has to offer, and Jim Barnes feels right at home. I'll be back with more Fight for Iowa after a word from our sponsors.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Here we go. Exciting adventures await. Grab your bucket list and keep the fun going all summer long. Pitch a tent, grab a sleeping bag, and sleep as a family under the stars. Fire up the grill and host a backyard barbecue. Visit a local trail for a hike or a drive to a state park for an all-day family adventure. With all there is to do this summer, we encourage you to get outside and make new memories. Whatever you do this summer, Shields is right there with you.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
The transformation of Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery's staff continued this past week with the announcement that Tristan Spurlock has been hired as the team's director of player development. The Virginia native played for the Virginia Cavaliers and then transferred to Central Florida. He spent nearly a decade competing professionally overseas. Tristan Spurlock is a former Virginia Mr. Basketball. Well, Mr. All-Everything, Keegan Murray, signed his rookie contract with the Sacramento Kings and then went out and dominated the California Classic League against fellow first-year players from the Golden State Warriors and Los Angeles Lakers. The former Hawkeye All-American and number 4 overall selection in last month's NBA draft averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds in 3 games, playing on average 30 minutes. Kings coach Jordi Fernandez called Murray's play steady and efficient. Keegan Murray will now prepare for the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, and then it's on to his first training camp. The future is brightening up in Sacramento. Iowa said goodbye to one of its all-time greats a week ago. Herb Thompson passed away at age 91. A former Hawkeye Most Valuable Player, Thompson was the Hawkeyes' best defensive player, averaging 13 points as a senior in 1953. He played on Hall of Fame coach Bucky O'Connor's first team that won 19 games in 1952. Born and raised in Forest City, Herb Thompson was an all-stater upon graduation in 1949. After college and a 2-year stint in the Air Force, Thompson taught and coached for 22 years in high school, including the last 14 at Moline. Herb Thompson is a member of the Iowa High School Players and Illinois High School Coaches Association Halls of Fame. A job well done and a life well lived. Herb Thompson. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.